Hey,
And just like that, we're live. Oh my God. Welcome everyone. Hey Ben, hey Jean-Francois. How are you all doing?
Good. I have no voice, but we're good. We'll push through.
Good. How are you doing, Jean-Francois?
Good.
So we should be live on both LinkedIn and YouTube, but I haven't seen anyone send us a comment on LinkedIn. So send us a comment, tell us where you're calling in from and what you want to see from today. What are you excited about? What's new? I don't know, feed us with info. Let us know what's going on. I'm super excited, but we'll do some intros first. Ben, you started off because my excitement is just, I'm buzzing right now, but I'll tell you why in a minute.
Perfect. So my name is Ben Fellows. This is the first time anyone's been here. I tend to host the Discord happy hours, and then we've been doing Playwright Live, been an ambassador now for just about a year, work with Playwright here over in the States, basically doing a lot of the test automation for a variety of clients. So I'll throw it over to Jean. Oh my God, I just butchered that. I'm so sorry, man. I completely choked. Jean, oh, this is embarrassing. How do you help me with the pronunciation? Apologies.
Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois. I was trying to say it and it wasn't coming out. Jean-Francois. That was one of the more embarrassing moments I've had. Sorry about that, man.
That's okay. I used to use Jeff before, which is a shorter name for Jean-Francois, but I decided that people have to suffer a little bit and try to pronounce it.
Respect.
So I'm Jean-Francois. I'm an experienced front-end developer. I'm also a Playwright ambassador. and I sometimes actually dig into the code of Playwright as an open source contributor, because Playwright is open source.
Very good. I like when people dive and dig into the code. And everyone, you should know me. I'm Debbie, and I'm me. And if you've never seen me before, then you're just not using Playwright. So there you go. And basically, we're here today to give any kind of community updates and what's kind of new and coming up in Playwright. Ben, is there anything you're excited about? Anything you've been using lately? Have you tried out any new features or something?
Well, am I allowed to spill the beans of what you're going to talk about when I
No,
say?
no, I want you to go back to like last time when we had Simon on. You weren't here. Simon came on and showed us what we were going to release. And he said, we're not going to release it. And then he went and released it. And that was super cool. So that was the copy prompt button. Did you even try that out?
I have not yet, but I also have been traveling a little bit. So I'm a little bit behind comparatively, but I do need to try it. If anyone else in chat tried it, that would be great. So you were saying what I'm most excited about. I think that and I'm not trying to spoil it, very excited to see what you're going to talk about today when it comes to your topic, but I'm not going to steal that topic. When it comes to general excitement, there's a whole variety of third-party tools that I'm really interested in these days that I'm happy to talking about. That being said, still loving Playwright when it comes to doing stuff with Cursor and Playwright. So kind of all over the board, but at the same point, don't want to steer us down too many rabbit holes before we talk about the main topic. Jean-Francois, what about you? What's exciting in your world?
A lot of people are talking about AI and the copy prompt, to that you can access from the trace viewer, if I'm not mistaken, when you have a program. I'm not a big AI code generation tool guy. I'm trying, for example, GitHub Copilot has a free usage now, so I'm trying this. I'm still not totally convinced, but I do like that feature because the copy prompt will give you hints about what's happening. And behind that, one way it's working and it's working well, it's the area snapshot. And I like the area snapshot, actually.
Cool. Debbie, I'll turn around and ask you, what's exciting to you these days?
Oh my God, I'm excited about everything, but I love AI. I really do. And I think it's just because it's moving so fast that it just constantly it keeps you on your toes. It's like, I can't keep up. I think it depends on how you use AI, of course. You can use it terribly and you can use it really, really well. So it's really exciting to see how many things are being developed around AI and how fast the community is moving around AI as well. The copy prompt button is just working great. I'm literally fixing my own website. Like I've updated the whole thing, and it created a lot of issues because it was like a load of updates. And I when you change your code, then you start like playing around with things. Well, I changed a load of things. I broke a load of tests, and then I was like, HTML report just said like this test is broken. And I just went copy prompt, and I just stuck it in to Copilot, and Copilot went, oh, I see the problem, and blah blah blah, and fixed it. And I was like, oh my God, this is a lifesaver. So yeah, it is actually really good.
Has anyone else used it? I'm still trying to wait and chat. And by the way, if you have questions, because there's some people who are already asking great questions, we will get to those at the end. We always try to have an FAQ portion where we both answer technical questions as well as answer questions around best practices, stuff like that. Also, Butch is another ambassador who's in chat and seems to be running questions and answers already there. So Butch also might be answering some of it. But cool. All right. Debbie, where do you want to go with next?
I want to answer some of these questions because I think they're really, before I dive in, someone's just, let me see if I can put it on the screen. Oh no, that wasn't the right one. Sorry. It jumps so fast because there's so many questions coming. Yeah. Does people using Playwright can be replaced by AI? And if not, how long we can sustain with this technology? So I think this is a kind of a worry for a lot of people, right? Are we going to be replaced? Is AI going to take over? I think we constantly have to like look back at how things evolve all the time, right? And before, like I started writing code in 1997. There were no editors. And now we have these amazing editors like VS Code that, you know, highlights things for you and stuff, right? Has that taken over my job? No, but it's made my job easier. And I think we have to look on these. AI is not going to take over your job, but is going to make your job easier. But I really do believe you need to kind of get on the AI train and understand how things works and use it. I think you need to use the tools that are there for you. AI will make some parts of your job redundant, especially the boring, repetitive tasks. And I think that's the key to what AI is trying to do. It's making your life so you can be more creative. You can, like, instead of fixing the bugs, you can just start creating the features, right? And there's a lot of cool things. So I don't think, but I cannot predict the future. And who knows what's going to happen, right? But I don't think you have to worry, but I do think you should test out and try out all the cool things. There's another one.
Sorry. So what I always say with my staff is it's an amplifier more than anything. So it's basically, if you're really great at what you do, it amplifies your ability to do it. But I didn't mean to dive in and cut you off. You were going to go for another thought.
Yeah, I was going to just put this. No, again, it's jumping. Sorry, guys. Oh my God. Here you go. Do you guys think tools like ChatGPT's operator and Claude's computer use could replace UI automation by Playwright or Selenium? So again, these are all kind of great questions. And like, who has all the answers to the future, right? We don't. But Playwright is going to be used in a lot of the AI stuff to make those automation. So you're going to be using Playwright a lot. Playwright is not going to go away in any way, but you might be developing an agent that's using Playwright to be able to do some things for you. So there's a lot of cool things. We are going to be writing a lot of code with AI. Tests are going to be even more important going forward. Any company that's using AI to write code and to create things, testing is going to be like the key to everything, because otherwise we're just like hoping that AI got it right. And are we ready to hope AI got it right? Not really. So anyone who's out there and who's a software tester, I think you're going to have a great career, because I think testing is super important, more now than ever. That's just my belief.
Yeah, you know, recently there's all that thing about vibe coding. And, you know, it's like you just talk to some AI and hope for the best. But the thing is that the way it's done, at least at this time, is that the AI will hallucinate a lot or use some solutions that will not fit exactly what you need. And a great way to check it is what you need and the software behave as you wish and with performance and all, it's by testing. That's the only way you can guarantee it's working, and tomorrow it's still working because you test the CI, and in a year from now, when you refactor the whole thing, it's still there and it still works. So testing would be more important than ever, I think.
Yeah, the main thing I'll chime in with is I think that it's going to be really nice sometimes not always having to rely on crazy locators if a front-end dev hasn't necessarily made always best practices with some of the stuff, like some of Claude. Like, what's interesting is there's layers to Playwright, right? There's all your protocol layer and the browser layer, which all of these tools are building from. Then you have some of the more like locator layers and action layers, and some of these layers I think get more replaced by some of the LLM tools than others. And so I think that so far it's the ones that are really the tedious layers that are getting optimized in some ways. And then the best is when you can flip back and forth, right? Like, if it's not really deterministic, you can still rely on all of the core Playwright functionality and features to really laser at focus. And then when it is fairly functional, you can just rely on some of these other tools. And so I love the tools that are offering the options.
Cool. And I love this this comment here. There are currently 772 open issues in Playwright. Have you considered using AI to review the older ones and close them? It's not as easy, but yeah, that's a great suggestion. I don't think AI will actually close them all for us in a correct way, but we definitely use AI while we're coding and we're closing issues and doing stuff with the use of AI, Copilot especially in our case. So I want to tell you something that someone has just put something in the chat there, and someone's commented back about, let me see, about a couple of open source or community projects that are basically using what we call MCPs. I would love to know if anyone is using an MCP, if anyone is using, I think Stagehand is one of them, and one of them is the MCP from Playwright, from execution automation or something like that. And there's a good few other ones. There's quite a few community ones. I would love to know in the chat if you're using MCP servers, and what are you using them for? What are you doing with them? What are you creating? And what do you need? Because here's it. I'm so excited about this. But we have basically just released an official MCP server. Right. Now, for those of you that do not know what an MCP server is, like, Debbie, what on earth are you talking about? Don't worry. This is the new hype right now is MCP servers. An MCP server is we lost Ben. I think lost Ben. Yeah, I think it's internet connections. He'll be back. So basically, what it is it's a way. So, for example, you're using ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using, and you can ask it to do things, right? But you can't get it to navigate to a page. It's going to say, here's the link. You've got to go and click the button, because it can't open up a browser, right? So AI can't open up the browser. The large language models can't open up the browsers. And that's where the MCPs come in, because by creating a Playwright one, Playwright can open up a browser. We can have a server that basically says, well, these are the tasks that you know how to do. And basically it can then open up a browser, navigate to a URL, click, fill out, take a snapshot, take a screenshot, and do all those things for you. And that's probably blowing your mind, Jean-Francois.
Is this, because I'm not familiar with what's MCP, so is this only for testing or also for automating? Like, I can ask the AI agents to check a price for me on some website, or the availability of some product?
Exactly.
Oh,
you can get it. So it's kind of like automating the website to do other things. So the idea here is that you would use it to create your AI agents, and you can use the MCP servers to focus on some particular thing. Let me try and show you. This is so super scary because we released it last night. So it's like literally, and it's not even released. It's still like in like beta and experimental, because it's literally like, it's just so new. But let me see if I can somehow help you understand things a bit better.
Testing in production. Yeah, but just because I missed it, can we also limit the scope? So I was playing around with a third-party one that was basically chunking the DOM and trying to do it. And in a real-world app, it kept getting confused with the different portion of the app that it was trying to focus on. As a user using some of these tools, can we say, hey, I want you to only interact with this table on this page using traditional Playwright locators to kind of limit the scope? Or is it still so early that kind of stuff is not really functional?
I'm not even listening to that question, but I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm just trying to share my screen. Come back, hold that thought, and come back to me, because I think it might be easier.
Okay, let's see how it looks like in action.
Testing in prod.
Like literally, I'm even sharing my entire screen. Like, this is just, don't do this ever. Okay, so this is like the GitHub page for the Model Context Protocol, MCP, right? So that's what it's called. And this is actually a collection. We're not in this collection because we're too new. Wait, oh, you're not seeing the screen. Sorry.
No, yeah, sorry.
No.
There you go. Sorry. So Model Context Protocol, that's the GitHub page. If anyone wants to go to that, they could go to that and check this out. We are not in here yet because we're too new, because we will be, but it hasn't been added. And there are already quite a few servers out there that you could play around with, and they're really, really cool. So this is basically just leveraging. So the servers showcase the versatility and extensibility of the MCP, right? And if you want to click on this one, it'll probably take you to an MCP is an open protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLMs. So we're basically providing context to the large language model. So think of MCP as a USB sort port for AI applications. Don't know if that helps, but it basically, there's a whole page here. I'm not going to give you a lesson on MCPs, but basically it helps you be able to do certain tasks by connecting to that MCP server, so that one focuses on what it needs to do. And then you can use programs like Claude or desktop or IDEs or AI tools that want to access through the MCP server to do those tasks. Okay, so that's your lesson for today. And And there's a load of them. There's really cool ones, right? Like GitHub has one. And I was playing with the Blender one, actually, which is really interesting. And I made a leprechaun with a pot of gold, and I have no idea of how to use Blender, and I did it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So the Playwright one, let me go to the Playwright one. You can see here, this is, because we work in open source, you can literally go to the Playwright repo and you can find it and you can check this out. But we will create documentation, blog posts, and videos, but we're not there yet. It's just like totally new. So this basically says, this is your config, your example config that you would use. And these are the tool modes, right, of what can do. So you can do snapshot mode. You can have browser navigate. So basically you can tell the LLMs to navigate to a URL. You can go back to the previous page. You can go forward. You can perform a click. You can hover over elements. You can perform drag and drop. The browser type, browser press, the snapshot. You can create a snapshot. This is really cool because like an area snapshot. You can save as PDF, browser wait and browser close, and then there's vision mode and a couple of other stuff, right? Who's with me and who's lost?
Questions so far? Anyone in chat? It looks like someone did post a different GitHub. I think that's a third-party GitHub. I actually got the same confusion. If you Google it, that's a third-party GitHub. Great project. You should go support it. But third-party GitHub, not the one that we're talking about.
Yeah, let me send you the link. But like I said, it is still experimental. Let me see if I can find the link for a second.
I don't think we have the permission to put links in chat.
You do not, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't. I tried.
So I need to do it. I have it here. Let me see if I can find it. It's here we go. So this is the npm package. I mean, you could obviously just search npm. I'm going to put it up here before I paste the link, just so you can see that our docs are absolutely terrible. As you've seen, it's literally like bare bones, right? Because you are getting hot off the press things that are just like literally kind of not even fully released, right? So this is our MCP, and at the moment, I think they're releasing a version any moment now, but at the moment we have to use @next, but this should change. But this should just work, and you don't need the M's, right? You just literally, this is all you need to put into your config. So that's that. Let me step back. I will add it to the YouTube description. That is great. I will do that at the end of the show. For anyone, I'll add the links to the YouTube description so you can come back and play with that instead of running through the comments. Right, let me see if I can get this to go, and let me give you a demo so that you can kind of understand a bit better. So I'm going to open up Claude, right? And I already was playing around with Claude, doing stuff. Let me start a new chat in Claude, right? So when you create an MCP server, you then have to use it in the config, and to do that, you would go to Claude, and you would go to settings. And it would open up a settings panel, and I've put in 2 of them here, right? So I've already added it, but you'd literally edit the config, right? And when you edit the config, it opens up a file, and you can open it into your editor of choice or however you want to open it. And then you add all this. So then you'll get this stuff, right? So that's how you do this. And then you can, now I was playing with this literally, I had like not even an hour to do this. So bear with me. This could go horribly wrong. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Let me see. I'm going to basically say to it, go to GitHub to Debs O'Brien and open the movies demo repo and see if there are any open issues, right? Let's see if we can do this, right? I'll help you explore. Now it's asking me for permission. It's saying, allow the tool from Playwright, right? And you can click on here to understand what it's doing. It's going to that URL. And it's like, be careful, MCP server, conversation content, be careful. But yes, allow for this chat. Okay. So it's going to go, it's open a browser. Look at that browser. Bang. Here's my YouTube page. Amazing. Now, if I go back to Cloud, it'll continue. Now that it's on the page, it's going to take a screenshot of the current page. Allow for this chat. And that's the annoying thing in Cloud, that you've got to keep kind of allowing it. And it's going to take the element repositories tab. It's found that tab. So allow for this chat. I'm just getting it to do the stuff, right? It's not doing anything exciting. I just want it to navigate. And I didn't really give it the right name or nothing. So it's like, great, I can see her repositories. And I found a repository called Playwright Movies App. Now, I called it Movies Demo Repo, right? I didn't even give it the right name, okay? And it found it. And it's now gone in there. And it says, perfect. I'm now in the Playwright Movies App repository. I can now see that there are open issues. Let's click on the Issues tab to see them. It's clicked on the Issues tab. I can see the 3 open issues. And it's basically giving me a list of all the issues.
It released the issues with the when it was opened and all.
Yes.
With some details about the issues.
Exactly. And go back. So I'm allowing it to go back. So I'm completely navigating, like the AI is navigating. Now, if you do not have an MCP server, you cannot do this, right? If you want to try it, you can totally try it, but you cannot do this. So this is
browser being open. Is this is computer use, or this is entirely a separate thing than computer use, and this is your own MCP server that's agnostic of cloud? Like, I'm trying to draw the distinction between what here is your MCP server and what is cloud. Like, where's the breaking point between the two?
Great question. So again, this is just giving me everything that I want to do. This is fine. Let me, you could use cloud, you could use client, you could use whatever you want, right? That allows it to use MCP server. So I'm just using cloud desktop here because that's what MCPs you can use on cloud desktop. Anyway, this is going crazy. It's like literally giving me all the information I want. It's like fully blah, blah, blah. It's like wrecking my head.
Too much for me, yeah.
It's deadly, right? But your question, is this only specific to cloud desktop? Now, this is what makes it exciting. I'm so excited. Sorry for my excitement. So let's park cloud away for a second. And let's see if this works. Let's go into my favorite editor, which is VS Code, right? So VS Code now has support for MCP servers. And what you can do is you can create an mcp.json file and you can put your server in there. So that's what I need to get Playwright working. Now, what I showed you in GitHub by using Playwright, GitHub actually has its own MCP server. So you don't even need to use Playwright to do that because you've got everything already for you by GitHub. So using the Model Context Protocol from GitHub, I put the GitHub one in here just for fun. You do need a key. So I'm hiding this because you need your token key to be able to log into GitHub and stuff. But you can check that out in the docs to figure out how to do that. So I've got Copilot open. I'm using VS Code Insiders. It is only available in VS Code Insiders. That's the we're going to test things out kind of version of VS Code. So it's not in it's the beta version. Yes, exactly. And you'll see then you have this new icon down here. And if I click on this, I'm also in agent mode. So you've got access to agent mode, and we've got this tools here. So you can see I've got GitHub Copilot chat. So because I've got GitHub Copilot, I've got all these things that I can do. And then I've got the MCP server for Playwright. So all the things I spoke about that were in the docs, the navigate, go back, go forward, the snapshot. I've got all this here. I could basically not allow it to have the navigate. So I can decide what it has. And this has stopped. So I'm hoping that this is going to work now because it's actually stopped. And then I've got the MCP server GitHub because I put in the GitHub one. So I can create or update files. I can search repositories. I can create repositories and stuff like that. Okay. Right. Any questions so far? I'm going to pause for a second.
I've been watching. One question was, how can we handle allowing the process to continue after each operation? You might get into some of that stuff, but any thoughts on that question?
Oh, when it comes to cloud, you've got to say yes, yes, yes all the time. It's really annoying. So let me show you. Yeah, that will change in the future. Don't worry. This is also new.
Another question, it's do you need premium Claude for that?
You don't, but premium is better. Like you can still work, but it kind of sometimes
you'll get token limited and stuff like that. If you don't.
Okay.
But it does work. You can test it out for free. You do test it out.
Yeah, credit or something. Okay.
Let's keep going. I'm very curious.
Right. So I'm gonna actually test the GitHub one for a little bit. So I'm gonna I don't even know this is gonna work. So I'm gonna basically so forgive me everybody. This is doing things on the fly, and it's never a good idea. I should have a pre-recorded demo, but they literally released it like last night, and I couldn't go to bed or anything. So that's, let me paste this properly in. I want to actually basically say, oh, it's not even copying. I'm sorry, I'm copying from one screen. So I had a prompt earlier. I'm going to see if I can do it. I want to create a new issue in Deb's O'Brien GitHub account on the movies demo repository. The issue should have, and let's change this. I'm going to change this. The issue should have a title of change the main title color and description, and should be change the color of the main title to a purple color, and change the title to use a H2 instead of a H1, and use CSS variables and ensure chosen color is accessible. Right. Let's see if this works. I'm going to put this in. This might not work because the servers were stopped a second ago. Let me see. That one stopped. And that one stopped. Oh, look. Okay. So it's basically saying run create issue. Let me just open this so I can see you here. Can you see that? Run create issue. And if I click here, it's saying create a new issue in the GitHub repository. Look at that. Owner, repo, title, body. Like, this is amazing. Right. Let's press continue.
Okay.
It seems that the repository movie is not found, okay, because I don't have a movies demo. Please verify the repository name. So I'm going to give it some help here. What is my repository name? It's actually called, what did I call it?
I don't remember.
What did I call it? I called it Playwright Movies App. Right. So this is how prompting is super important. The other time in Claude, it found it. But here, so it's going to run create issue, right? What does create issue do? So the repo is now Playwright Movies App. It's going to change the title of the body, right? What I put in there. Cool. Let's see what happens. This is so, I love doing things live. It's so funny. I've successfully created the issue in the Playwright Movies App repository. You can view the issue here. Do you believe it? Let's click and see, right? It's opened up another window. Let me go over to the other window. Let me bring it over here. Oh, wow. Change main title color, right? That's amazing. Okay. It just put that I wrote it, even though I did, but I didn't, because agent mode kind of wrote it. So that's issue number 45, right? You can actually go to that issue now. You can actually see this live. Okay. Let me, let's put that here. All right. What would we do now? So what would you do now, Ben?
Well, so just to repeat my understanding, right? So these servers, they're sort of hyper-scoped assistants, right? With basically coded functionality. So one of the biggest concerns with sort of AI in general is determinism and sort of its ability to sort of know scope creep and some of these other things. What I'm seeing is that these are hyper-specific assistants that basically have set actions that you are going to be very stable and very deterministic within the scope of those actions. Is that a fair way of characterizing this back just watching your demo, or would you say it somewhat differently?
So it's not the assistant. Copilot is the assistant.
Yeah, it's the underlying server.
Copilot has access to the server, and that server, so I click on here, that server can only do these tasks. So Playwright only has access to navigate, go back, go forward. If I wanted it to, I don't know, it has click, it has hover. I can't think of something that I would want it to do.
In theory,
double click.
Yeah,
exactly. If I wanted to double click, it'd be like, no, I don't have access. I don't know how to do that. That doesn't happen. I can't access that, right? It's like an instruction manual almost. And this is your instruction manual. So you can tell the agent, and the agent then has, I call it superpowers. It's kind of like almost giving it superpowers, because it has access to do things that the LLM wouldn't be able to do, right? Copilot can't navigate to a URL. It can't open a browser. It can't do that. But here we're saying, here's how to do it. I know how to do it. I'm the MCP server for Playwright. I know how to open a browser. I know how to do this. And the same with GitHub, right? GitHub can only give you things that GitHub can do, right? Create a pull request, create an issue.
So if you wanted to find the Playwright repository, right? So I see search repository. So if you're just like, hey, can you go find me the Playwright test repository? I'm imagining you could just ask Copilot here and it would be able to more easily search a repository, or is it going to be scoped within sort of maybe your authenticated GitHub?
So the GitHub one, the interesting thing about the GitHub one is that if you're in Claude, you've got like, you can go to any GitHub, whatever. This one the same, you can go to any GitHub. But because I'm in this repo, it does kind of also limit it to this to make it easier. right?
Sweet.
So it means
Okay.
you don't have to kind of go, but you still have access to the external ones because
Yeah.
I've given it the key, but it's kind of knows what it's doing, right? And that's why when I say, give me a list of the issues, it knows what repo I'm in because I'm in that code base,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what I'm going to give. I'm going to see if this works. Now this might not work. So forgive me, but at least I give you an idea, right? So can you complete the task in issue number? What was the issue number, everybody? Issue number 45. Issue number 45. Change main title color. I'm just going to help it. Change main title color. Right. Okay. Now let me see if I can. I don't know if this is going to work. But I tried this earlier and it worked. But live demos, it might not work. I'm going to paste this in. But before you navigate, before you do, let me do it. But if you do, navigate to the actual application and click on the Deadpool movie and take a snapshot. And then when finished, run the app locally and navigate to the Deadpool movies page, take another snapshot of the local changes and compare and tell me of any differences. Right. Does that make sense to everybody? Is this going to work? I'm so excited. This could fail. Okay, everybody. Wish me luck. Wish me luck, everybody.
Yeah, so if I understand the prompt, like if I had to do it or something, let's say, you expect it to be fixed and to take a screenshot of the before after to prove it is fixed, right?
Well, okay, good question. So yeah, before and after, but what I'm doing is because in Playwright, we really love
local and then
accessibility.
deployed.
Yeah, but I want to look at the area snapshot. I want to actually know, so instead of looking at an image, I want to know the actual accessible tree. And that's what we have in the MCP Server Playwright is the accessible tree, the area snapshots. If you're using area snapshots, you'll understand exactly what I mean. So let's go and run it and see what happens. And if it doesn't, I'll talk you through it. But it did work earlier. Right, run the browser navigate.
Navigate. Okay, that's a Playwright action or something. I don't know how to call that.
Okay, it's opened up a browser. I need to quickly go over here and find it. There you go. There's the one that's open. Okay, it's gone back here. It's running browser click. Let me go back here. Okay, it should go to the Deadpool movie, but I don't know if it will. It's running browser click. It's still running that. It might not find it because I called it just Deadpool. Like I said, this is me running things. Live demo. And I just changed it last minute. I should have just like left on the homepage. But just to show you that you could click, that's what I wanted to do. So it's having problems clicking because my instructions are terrible. Prompt is really, really important. Okay, it ran the browser click. It didn't go to the Deadpool movie. I don't know why. Never mind. I attempted to click on the Deadpool movie, but it seems the element is outside of the viewport and the click action timed out. Okay, so I just need to give it a better instruction. I will try to scroll to the element and click it. I attempted, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, never mind. It attempted. Let's go and run the browser snapshot anyway. The whole click thing was just to show you that it can click. It's not actually important. So it's it navigated the browser app. Okay, and it navigate the Deadpool page and to take another snapshot. So now it's saying run the Playwright movies app locally, npm start. Oh god,
yeah,
that's not
it's starting to
start the app.
Yeah.
Okay, but it should be dev. So I should have said it. I should have said to so I need to help it here.
I see how it works. Yeah, I see how it can work.
The local server's not running. Let's see if it fixes itself.
So actually what's interesting then, and someone just asked this, and I might be ruining the surprise, but then is the next stage of this that we can put this directly within a Playwright test as part of whether or not a test works? Or at this point, is it still limited to like the Copilot chat component?
Sorry, I'm trying to read Copilot at the same time.
Oh, you're fine.
Hold that thought. So I've now launched the dev server. So my agent is helping me. I had to kind of instruct a little bit because again, my prompt was terrible. It's ran the browser navigate and it's now running the browser snapshot and it's now running the browser click.
Okay, it's going to click on the Deadpool movie again and then, oh, okay, this time it worked.
Did it work? It did. Look, woo! There you go. I've got my Deadpool movie. It worked. It worked. So the click worked. So that's great. And now it's searching the code base for the main title color because it's got to do the job, right? The job is in the issue what I told it was in issue 45, and now like, oh my god, it's going to the code and it's lit. Like, this is so insane. This is so cool, right? It's like, woo, okay, it's actually changed the palette text primary to custom purple, right? And it's changed the H1 class name to the H2, sorry, the H1 title to the H2, right? It's told me it's done that. Now I can press the browser snapshot again, right? And this is the interesting thing. I have no idea if this is going to work. Like, fingers crossed. Come on. I've taken a snapshot of the local changes. There are no visible difference between the previous snapshot and the current snapshot, except for the changes made to the main title as specified in the issue. The task in issue number 45 has been completed successfully. And it basically says the main title. Now, when I did this earlier, it actually told me, but because the first snapshot didn't work, before it told me there was a difference between the H1 and the H2. But basically that's what it's doing, right? There's no visible difference. And we could send this then to GitHub and say, can you add this as a comment? I'll just do this for fun. Can you add this as a comment in the issue? Right, and I did not press keep. I should have pressed keep first, but never, or maybe I didn't need to, I don't know. But let's see what this does. But again, I'm using the power of Playwright, GitHub, my editor, the agent to do all this work for me, Copilot to do all this, right? And this is how I feel that, like, you know, someone's going to run at issue. Like, this is, it saves me just having to go to the issue and like making that comment, right? I can just be more productive. And that's what I'm trying to show you here, is that everything is about being more production. Okay, it's added the issue. Let me have a look. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God, this is amazing. The main title has been successfully changed to use a H2 instead of H1. The color has been updated to purple color using CSS variables. There are no visible differences between the previous snapshot and the current snapshot, except for the changes made to the main title as specified in the issue. That is insane.
So just to repeat what you just did, you basically made a GitHub ticket. You then told it to run Playwright, create your base state. Then you coded the change. Then you ran Playwright to confirm the change. And then you closed or made a comment on the ticket. And you basically started from acceptance criteria all the way to a closed ticket with just this one chat. That's what I'm seeing. Is that like a fair characterization?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm using the snapshots to be able to test to see if there are any other differences, because maybe something else broke. Maybe the agent did something, or the agent Copilot here in this case did something I didn't want it to do, and I didn't see it in the code. And now, like, I don't know, I could try and see if I could do this. Let me see if I can do this. If I could, page 2. I could probably just change this here, right? Imagine that this is, I don't know, someone did this, the agent did this as well. And I could ask it then, can you navigate? Let me see, I'm on the fly now here, right? Can you navigate to the movies site and create a snapshot test? No, a snapshot test. No, sorry. Create a snapshot and check if any visible differences from the last one. Again, I didn't try this. I have no idea if this is going to work, right? I probably should have said go to the Deadpool movie one here, right? Run browser navigate. But this is basically what I'm showing you, that because of the Playwright MCP server, I have this functionality that I would not have had before, right? I think it's opened. No, it's open. Oh, it's opening one. Run browser, click. Let me see. Where is my? Okay. And it's basically giving you the power to do all this. So, have I showed enough? Does everyone understand this? I haven't even been reading the chat because I'm so focused here. So forgive me for ignoring you all. I'm sorry. Does this make sense, or do you need to see a bit more of this to kind of like get it sunk in? Jean-Francois, especially you, because you were like so lost.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like having a colleague, to do the job for you or with you, and that's cool, because compared to what Copilot is doing or something, this time the agent can check for the result or check for regression.
Exactly.
So this is interesting. You know, it kind of mimic what we do as developer. We might make TDD and write test and then code, but not always. What we do all the time, actually, and even more when you are front-end developer, is that you also try manually. You check with your eyes manually to see, if something changed, and this is quite difficult for a machine to do. And so it's like the agent. You can ask the agent to change something and then to test manually. So the agent, can actually run the browser and test it and check for itself, whether something changed or not. Or so this is this is cool.
Exactly. This is kind of answering Martin's question here. What's the use of these MVCs in testing with Playwright? Like, we really don't know. There's so much scope. Like, this is also new. But yes, you're basically, instead of the manual person going in and clicking that button to make sure that is there, that works, you're able to get the agent to Copilot is able to go and click that button and to make sure that functionality works. And then you can, confidently push that, make you create your test,
Yes,
etc. So
exactly.
it's
So then the question I had, Debbie, was you're showing us a bunch of examples being run through the Copilot chat. Can we also connect to the MCP server directly within a test? So if we have a test suite, can part of that test be connecting directly to the server, or is it limited to only going through the Copilot chat at this point?
Oh, you mean in the actual test itself? So you need something to work to be able to run a server. So at the moment you need something like Claude or so I don't know if you could put into Copilot. In this case, it's like Copilot chat, right?
Got it.
If you could use, again, Claude, Clint, a couple of others maybe are also available. But you could put in there, you're saying, can I run this test? But also,
Well,
like,
so
what do you want to do?
So I have
what do you want to do?
test today. I have a Playwright test today that goes to Playwright dev and it makes sure that the ambassadors are listed properly, right? Where I sort of thought this might be going is, hey, rather than having that Playwright test that's going to have to rely on the navigate and then the locators and then explaining the assertions, I could just update that Playwright test to launch one of these protocols and then do that same thing within the scope of the traditional Playwright code file structure, as opposed to needing a server. But what I think I'm hearing you say is you need a underlying server or sort of LLM server to be able to run this. Is that my understanding?
So I think this is a different thing. This is not taking over you writing your Playwright tests. Playwright works and writes tests and runs the browser and does everything it needs to do. This is another use case
of Playwright separately.
Yes, exactly. And you might not have this use case, and you might not need and ever use an MCP server, or you might do cool things like me, where I'm like, I'm just going to use GitHub ones and like add the comment and just getting it to kind of just navigate for you, because I could totally have just opened that dev server myself, and I could totally have just clicked on it, and I could have opened the accessibility tree, and I could have compared it myself. But I'm getting this server to do it faster than I can do it, which is very helpful.
A use case that comes to mind would be, one of the headaches constantly for us is that a developer has a development ticket and they'll change something that'll break some end-to-end tests. But what we can do, what I'm saying, for example, is we could say, hey, go take a look at this development ticket, find me within VS Code the test cases, update the test cases to then based on the new acceptance criteria of this development ticket, and then run those test cases and confirm that they work, or some version of that. So in this case, it's not using LLMs to actually do the verification and validation of the test. This use case would be basically doing a refactor of code and then running that test case again to verify that that test case has been refactored. Is that closer?
I mean, it depends.
You
could do it. You could do it yourself, or you could do it with the MCP server.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. So you just have to. I think you just have to figure out what your use case is.
Yeah.
And I think the whole, basically what you're doing is you're giving the LLM, or the large language model, you're giving it the power to use Playwright's capabilities of opening browsers and clicking and doing what Playwright is good at doing. So it's giving it automation possibilities that it did not have before, right? So and then what you do with that, that's up to your imagination. There is a lot of things. Now, I did see a demo last night. I don't have access to show it to you, but I did see a demo last night of them somebody using the GitHub one, creating the issue, reading the issue, and then assigning it to Copilot. But it also used the Figma MCP server. So it was able to go and look at the Figma design for, I don't know, say the color button was blue or whatever. And then it was able to get the Playwright to create the screenshot and make the comparison against the Figma design and say, yes, these are now the same. I've completed my job, as confident as the Copilot could be, and then push those changes to GitHub. And then obviously the manual tester or somebody else, before they merge it, could check those and see if it's correct. But using Playwright to basically then, on top of the Figma, make that comparison. There's so many cool things you can do. And this is just the start. We've like, literally, it's just like last night, literally. So it's endless. I can't even tell you all the things, Ben, because I just found a couple of use cases today, and then I got all excited, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, because at first I was like, oh, I could just go to my website and give me a list of the issues. And then I went, Playwright just did that for me. And that was cool. You saw that in the demo. But GitHub has a server that already does that. So we don't even need Playwright to do that, because GitHub can do that, right? So I could also go to Figma and then take a screenshot of Figma of the design. But Figma's got a server that could just go to Figma and give me all the Figma stuff. So as more servers start to be built around the kind of technologies, we're going to see a huge amount of, like, all these LLMs can do all these cool things. And then Playwright, where Playwright comes in, is it's just giving that the LLM those capabilities of opening the browser and doing the clicks. But the real key, I think, is the snapshot testing, like being able to take the area snapshot of what's live and what's your local one, comparing it and giving you a list of, like, here are the differences in the snapshot. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I have a remark about this. It works well. I mean, like in the case you show, like to see whether something changed. But also in general, it works well for the LLM to actually navigate the website and be able, to do it with maybe the right locator, behind the scene, because all of that is Playwright with locators. The website has to be accessible. And what I love about area snapshot and about locators in Playwright is that they are user-facing locators. So now the AI through the MCP can use a website just like a human would use it. So it kind of, a bit like testing library did that before, it kind of push you to make better websites that are accessible for human, and then now also for machines. And when I say for human, it's for everybody, whether you need an assistant because you have side program or whatever you have, or just because you are on mobile and under the sun and the screen is really small, or these kind of things. Anyway, if you do your website well, and if you respect good practice and you make accessible website, then it would be great for your users and also for Playwright, and then for AI agents.
Exactly.
So to answer the question about Cursor, because I use Cursor right now to generate a lot of test cases. Oh, sorry. I think what's core difference here is there's kind of two components that Playwright serves in many ways. There's Playwright test, and then there's like the Playwright browser components. And I think that what I'm hearing is that, like, Playwright test and using Cursor to write test cases and automation code and stuff like that, this is an augmentation that's adding to more of the sort of ability to, broadly speaking, to like control browsers really effectively using Playwright, which those two things wildly overlap, and there's a ton of really interesting and cool possibilities. But I think it's slightly different than, it doesn't change how you would use Cursor to help write your test cases and your automation code and some of the traditional things. This is, I think, over time going to probably very much impact that, is sort of my perspective on it, but that's just a single human's perspective on it. But doesn't day one, from what we're seeing, like change it. It's very much hand in hand in many ways. Now, Debbie, you can feel free to correct me, but I just wanted to answer that thought based on the question about Cursor and how it changes it.
Yeah, think of Cursor and Copilot as two programmers doing similar jobs. And basically the same of what I showed. I don't know if this is possible in Cursor yet. I'm sure it will be, because everything, eventually goes to everywhere, right? But basically you're when you're in Cursor writing your tests, you're writing your tests, and that's one thing. And Playwright is not going away and writing tests. We still need to write tests. This is just giving different powers. And if it's also like if you're creating AI agents, so maybe you're creating a specific agent for your company that's going to do something. Now you've got the MCP Server Playwright to be able to do those things for you. And there's a lot of people out there creating agents. Cursor is an agent. Copilot is an agent, for example, right? Maybe you're creating another agent, and now you can use this server to help you do whatever that task, whatever that agent that you want it to do, right? But yeah, it's all pretty new. So those who have never heard of it are probably thinking like, oh my God, do I need to go and like not write tests anymore and just use an MCP server? No, like this, it's a completely different thing. But I think what's really cool is someone put it in here. Let me see if I can find it here. I can see how a Jira integration of this technology would be very useful. Create a bug and assign it to, et cetera, et cetera. That's exactly. And then use Playwright to verify, after you've used the agent to make the changes. Instead of the developer, the agent's making the change and you want it to verify it. And that's where it's kind of coming from. But there's so many use cases. It's insane.
I think the one thing I'll add that I'm listening, right, is I think that when you remove as much of the tedious work of like, go create a ticket or go do this, it frees you up for the really interesting and creative work.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And then Tally chimes in. So soon we'll have an agent maybe to fill and empty the dishwasher. That would be.
That's what kids are for, Tally.
All right, we have 4 minutes left. Final thoughts, questions. Anyone in chat? Final thoughts, questions. How do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I basically want to say what I showed you today is pure and utter experimental. We are still learning. We're learning from the community. We would love to know what you want from this. Is it useful? Are you, do we need to add more things to it? What are you building from it? Again, we have no documentation, no videos, no anything. I'm going to work on that as much as possible. If anyone needs direct access to anything, like, there's GitHub issues, file an issue for any features and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But if
I had this question. I mean, because it's experimental and still early, is it okay to feel GitHub issues?
Yeah, for sure. Because we learned from that. We're, it's totally fine. It's still early, but that doesn't, it could be perfect and never gets changed, and that's it. Like, we might have just nailed it, like, first off, right? Or maybe we change the command instead of navigate. We change it to go to, right? There's like a breaking change, but it's not a big deal. So at the moment, just basically let us know, what's going on. And the same, test it out in VS Code. Again, VS Code Insiders. Again, that's experimental as well, right? Everything is experimental, but we're moving very, very fast, and we need the community to help us in shaping it so that we create a great product for everyone to use, rather than just, we can see this, but the community can see that, right? And we need you to help us see that. So let us know. Yeah, that would be great. Very helpful.
Perfect. All right. Anyone else have final thoughts, questions in the chat? Otherwise, Debbie, do you want to talk about, I don't know if you have anything upcoming planned, any events upcoming, any shout outs you would want to do? If this is your first time, we try to do these things monthly, if not maybe once or twice a month. Debbie, anything else coming up that you want to shout out?
No, but I was in Amsterdam last week at one of the conferences, and my talk is live on the internet, and you can watch it. And I'll put a link in the show notes if anyone wants to watch that talk. And basically, the new release is coming soon, but we're going to release this in the new release. So it's all going to be like MCP is our new thing. No, there'll be other things, of course, as well. Don't worry, we're not just only doing AI. But yes, anyone that wants to reach out or has ideas, just let me know. Just ping me on Discord or ping me on LinkedIn. You can find me. I'm very approachable, and send me a message. Say, hey, I've got this cool idea. I'd like, show this off, I'd like to do this, whatever. Just let me know. Yeah.
Jean-Francois, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I'm not very keen on AI. I'm still checking. I'm still checking whether it fits my my needs or not, because obviously I guess I'm a developer that knows what he wants, and sometimes I have to fight the agent for that, but not always. So it's time anyway to discover, and that's what I love about Playwright, is that there are lots of possibilities between Playwright for browsers, for automation, and then Playwright test and API testing, snapshot, whatever. You don't have to use all. You have to use what makes sense for you. So I'm still checking, and I'm not really multitask. So I just wanted to make a shout out to Kikobar from GitHub. He or she, with a group of students, actually took an issue that I wrote and implemented it, and it will be a part of next version. So it's to have the fail on flaky test as an option in Playwright config, because I don't like to rely on the command line too much. So you see,
Nice.
even students can take an issue and try it, and obviously can have some help from the community to do it. So if you're a developer and you are curious about open source, it's a bit frightening to participate to something as big as Playwright, but actually it's okay. You can do it.
Perfect. All right, Debbie, sign us off.
Yes. Basically, what Jean-Francois said, Copilot and all these agents and AI can help you, and they can do a great job. But you remember, you are the one that has all the knowledge, or should have all the knowledge. So you're the one that's telling it, is it right or not? Because sometimes it's going to tell you this is the right way, and you're going to know, actually, you're wrong. And then it will say, yes, you're right, Debbie. That was the wrong way. Let me give you the right way. So that's why AI is not going to take over your job, but you need to make sure you know what you're doing. So keep writing those tests, keep building, and keep having fun. Don't fight the AI, but don't let AI take over. Right, you need to control it. And on that note, test everything out, have fun. I'll put everything as I can into the show notes so that you can kind of follow back. And thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for joining Ben and Jean-Francois. And we will see you at the next one in April.
Nice
Bye,
job
everyone.
with the live demo. All right, bye.
Thanks.
I
Bye.
know. I should get a full, wow, real applause for that. That was amazing.